Everybody, happy Wednesday. We're back again. Wednesday training. Hey, Val, you working out. I see you, girl. Leveling up. This is so awesome. I just love this. It seems like I'm all over the world here and just get to talk to people from all over. But today we got some more topics. Me and Michelle. Um, I'm gonna let Michelle go first because hers is just I believe that's how we should definitely kick the day off with her. But grab some paper. I believe that you will love today. And I know for sure if you do the things that like Michelle talks about, and then what I share, you will take benefit from it and it can really help you take your business to the next level. So, Michelle, without further ado, I'm going to kick it to you.
Good morning, everybody. It's fall and we're in full swing with school, and it's kind of a new season, and I'm seeing a shift in people's energy around me. And I want to talk today about not giving up. Specifically, don't quit on yourself. And for me, I know that it's sometimes easier to remember the other people around me who I'm working for, who I'm serving, who I'm wanting to take care of, like my family, for instance. And so sometimes, we put those people first. And when we have that as our focus, we're like, yeah, what I'm doing is worth it. And we don't quit as easily. But how many of you have ever felt like it was easier to quit on yourself than to quit on somebody else? Yeah, I think so. And that for me is something that just kind of it hit me in about the last 24 hours or so. And there's a verse that I wanted to share with you, actually two of them this morning, and I'm going to grab my Bible real quick, if it's okay that I read that to you guys, because I think it's really relevant to what we're talking about right now. But I would like to, on this topic, ask Billy if you would be open to sharing with us this morning. I know that you just completed your race, right? Your marathon?
Yes, I did.
You did. Awesome. So I have been following your journey and watching and knowing that you have been pushing yourself and working really hard. And I wonder if you would share with us a little bit this morning about what that process, that journey was like for you. I know Andrea has talked about it from this position of supporting you and going through it with you. But I imagine that as you did that whole journey and process through deciding I'm going to run the race, to beginning to work towards running the race and then completing it, that was a physical journey, no doubt. But I'm guessing that there was a lot of mental behind that. Would you share a little with us this morning about what happened and transformed for you through that journey? And what did that take from you for yourself, like a commitment to yourself? Because I know that piece of it had to have been there.
Yeah, I'm really kind of happy to see Lance on here because he's been a huge help in helping me. Yeah, you say no, but I say yes. Whenever I made the decision to do this, it all had to do with starting of the level up stuff. And it's something I've always wanted to do, but I really wasn't. I knew there was a lot of work involved in it, but I didn't know how much. And so I set a path of 8 weeks, and Lance is like, "Yeah, you're crazy." And I've had some individuals that ran marathons. They've told me and said, "Hey, if you haven't planned to start, don't start," because there's a lot involved in it. And the wonderful thing for me is I get to go through a process that parallels very close to what we do in business and what we do in life. Andrea and I, we've made some decisions. A lot of people don't know about those. I am actually leaving FedEx on the 16th to work the business full time. Andrea is working on leaving her job, and we're trying to make that decision on when that's going to be. And that's probably going to be right around Christmas time. And then we're moving. And so we'll announce that a little bit later. But, you know, the whole process of going through training, and every single day was different. And you never really know what is different until you go into it. Because some days you start out just fine and you're running along, and you have something stupid like your knee decided to start bothering you, or your hamstring. You just never know what's going to pop up. And then there's those other days, it's like, man, this is great. Nothing's hurting. Everything's going great. And then you have your coach tell you, well, tomorrow we're going to run an extra 2 miles on top of everything. Or, you know, it's just one of the biggest things I think is being, and they talked about this in Coach's Corner, being teachable. And I had to allow myself to be at someone else's plan for me to be able to do this. And that's exactly what we do in our business, is we have to allow ourselves to be open to the plan that's before us. You can't go in and say, and I know we've even talked about this in Coach's Corner this morning, and that is, you can't go and say, well, you know what, I know what I'm doing, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Because you're going to fail every time. Because things change so fast. There have been so many new things that have come up, even in running, that if you don't keep up on it, you're going to miss out. And so I had an opportunity to talk with Ant a little bit before about the run itself. And I got to go through about every emotion you could possibly think of, all the way from complete enjoyment to complete pain. And I told him, I said, you know, we get told no all the time, but about 16 and a half miles into my marathon, my right knee decided to say no. And I told Ann, I said, I just looked at my knee and said, too bad, you're going to keep going. If I can't run, I'm going to walk. And I walked as hard as I could. And I tried numerous times to try to get it to commit again to walk or to get to run. The hardest thing for me was going downhill. And going downhill, if you don't take it the right way, you're not going to be going back up. And that's the whole idea. If you don't commit yourself and realizing that there are going to be some points where you're going to go down, but if you take it at the right pace, you can go back up again. That's awesome. That's what I got to deal with. And I got to the very end, about the 25th mile, and Lance and I have talked about this quite a bit. There's an emotion that comes over, and I think it's this way in anything that we do in life. And that emotion was just realizing I'm almost there. And once that got passed, I was able to enjoy that last 0.2 miles to the finish line, and just realizing that I've done this. I did it. It didn't matter how I got there. I got there. And now I'm ready for the next one.
And you would not have been able to experience that joy and that personal satisfaction and that level of pride had you given up on yourself.
Exactly. Right? Exactly.
And so often thank you for sharing that, Billy, and your experience, because it's really an amazing analogy to see the connections between the physical side of things and our mental battles and the challenges that we face in our business building. And I knew that you had been on that journey, and I really appreciate your insight into that this morning, Billy, because it's so true that if we give up on ourselves before we have carried it through, we don't get to experience that satisfaction and that joy and that pride and all of those emotions that come. And sometimes I think there's even a little bit of emotional letdown where we're like, oh, I made it, I did it. And I see that big smile on your face that says, yeah, it's totally there. And so, you know, as we talk about our businesses and what we're doing here, I think it's so important to put some priority on ourselves and why we're doing this. What are we doing it for? And to remember that when I start today on my business, I matter and it's worth it. And don't give up on me. And like Billy did not give up on himself. Like he had challenges, you know, his knee decided to tell him, not doing this, you know, about 2/3 of the way through. And he had a choice to make. He could have said, well, this is a bummer. And I guess that's just it. And he could have quit, but he didn't. He found a way to work around it. I love what you said, Billy. If you couldn't run, you were going to walk. You know, if we can't run in our business, slow down. You know, there's seasons in life where maybe we've got a lot on our plate. Maybe we're recovering from an injury or a procedure or an illness, and we need to take it a little bit slower. That's okay. Do that. Take that time, but don't quit. Because if we quit on ourselves, how are we ever going to know what we're capable of? How are we ever going to realize the full impact that we can have on people around us? And I was doing my devotions this morning and I opened up to 1 Timothy, and in chapter 4, verses 14 through 16, it says, "Do not neglect your gift, which was given to you through a prophetic message. Be diligent in these matters. Give yourself wholly to them, so that everyone may see your progress. Watch your life and doctrine closely. Persevere in them, because if you do, you will save both yourself and your hearers." And for some of us, maybe it's not about a gift that we received through prophecy or through a specific word from the Lord. For me, it was. And that's how I came to this. And so for me, that one hit me right between the eyes. But we all have gifts. We all have things that we have been given, tools and specific strengths and gifts that we each possess. And if we neglect those, like if we have the gift of encouragement, but we just think it in our head instead of speaking out to somebody a word that will lift them up and give them encouragement, then we've wasted that gift. If we have the gift of hospitality, but we never open our doors to welcome people, to show them that they are valued, they're welcome, they matter, and we're there to serve them, then we've wasted that. And so when, you know, where it says be diligent in these matters and give yourself wholly to them, that to me was like, wow, you know, that talks about the consistency that Aunt preaches on all the time. It talks about remembering to do them, and don't do them half-heartedly. Do it fully. Do it, you know, with everything that you have. And if you hit a season where everything that you have means you go a little bit slower, or you find different ways around the challenges, then do that. But don't quit, because where it says a little bit later, persevere in them, because when you do, it says here, you will save both yourself and your hearers. For us, maybe that saving is helping somebody with a real tangible health benefit that might legitimately save their life. Maybe it's saving them in a financial sense, that they are on the brink of going under, but we persevere and we don't quit on ourselves, and we have the ability to share with them something that could save their life financially. And then where it says, so that everyone may see your progress. That was hard for me. It's still hard. I'm still wrestling with that one. And Lance and Billy, you two in particular have been so great with this level up challenge of sharing. Melissa, I see yours too with your posts, and so many people are sharing on the regular. They're talking about their challenges and their successes and what they're doing. And you might think when you're just posting about a workout that you just did, and you're thinking, is it really making an impact? Is it making a difference? Like, is anybody even noticing? I'm here to tell you that we notice, and it does make a difference. And if we quit before we ever get started, how can we realize and how can we know and carry out the full benefit and impact of what we're doing? Sometimes when people go to get started, they get overwhelmed and they think, I can't do this. And they quit before they even start. When I started my photography business, there was so much I did not know. Like, if I could look back now and see all the things I've learned in the last 11 years, I would go, oh my gosh, like if I was me 11 years ago looking forward to see what I've learned, I don't know if I would have started because it was overwhelming. There's so much. But I'm glad I didn't quit when it was hard and when I was frustrated and I struggled. And so my encouragement to all of us today is that when we face no's, when we face challenges, when you talk to a bunch of people and they don't seem interested, don't quit. Don't quit on yourself. Don't quit on your business, on your family. And maybe it comes down to just simply the fact that you're going to decide. Maybe it's just a decision that says, you know what? I'm not very good at following through in my life. And I'm going to change that. I'm going to decide right now not to quit on myself because I matter and I'm worth it. So all of you guys, you matter and you're worth it. And for those of you who have been persevering, who have been sharing and being a testimony to what it is that you're doing and how it's changing your life, I applaud you and I'm proud of you, and keep doing it. And for those who have maybe been struggling a little bit to recognize your worth, I want you to hear and believe that you're worth it. And I want you to know that it does matter and it does make a difference. So if you have already decided not to quit on yourself, good job. Keep doing that. Don't quit. And if you need to decide, please decide for you, for your team, for the lives that you're going to impact, because this is about so much more than just us. It's so much bigger than just one person and one pack of products or a particular benefit. It's so much bigger than that. And if we walk away and give up before we have followed it all the way through, we're going to do ourselves and so many people around us a disservice. So, Aunt, I'm going to give it back over to you this morning to finish us up. But Billy, thank you for sharing. It was so relevant. And I know I put you on the spot, but I appreciate you being willing to share with us this morning. So, Aunt, back to you.
Ooh, I don't even think I need to do my part. I think we could just ended it right there, you guys. And wow, that was powerful. Thank you, Billy. Thank you for sharing that, Billy. It really hit home. And thank you, Michelle. You're just so awesome as well. You guys, what's been on my mind is something. I was sitting down with Todd and John and Antoinette Ramsey, and we were just talking. We had a conversation about like, how can we educate people more in the business? Like, how can we do it? Like, what's some of the things we did? And one of the things we were talking about is the skills that you need to have success here. One of the skills that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start teaching on that. I'm gonna start teaching, once a week I pick a skill and we're gonna dive into it. So today the skill I wanted to talk to everybody about was follow-up. Follow-up. Something that a lot of us fail at doing sometimes, I'm pretty sure. But what I want to know is, the question I have for everybody is, who all joined? If you did not join the very first day that somebody introduced you, put a 1 in the comments. Put a 1 in the comments. If you did not join the very first day somebody put 1 in the comments. Mostly, it's going to be about everybody. When I was looking it up and looking at the numbers, 80% of the people do not join the very first day. It could be time. I got to talk to my spouse, the money, just anything is a reason why it's going to keep people. And they say it for a reason, because the fortune is in the follow-up. And I didn't notice how big this was until last week. I'm at the beach and I'm sitting in my room and I'm just got my red book and I was like, you know what? About to just start reaching out to people. And some of those people I had reached out to, try to get appointments. And one particular person said, he said something that he went to my rival school in high school. He went off to play in the NFL for several years, played for about 4 different teams. And I reached out to him and I just was saying, hey. And then he's like, man, Anthony, how are you doing? And out of nowhere, he FaceTimed me. And I was like, oh, okay, well. And so I answered it. And he said something. He said, you know, you've been following up with me for 3 years. And I said, I told my wife, I said, this man has followed up with me for 3 years. I went back in the text messages for 3 years. I at least need to hear him out and see what he has. But that's what it really hit me, because that is a skill that we all lack sometimes. And it's not just me. I mean, I do it too. I do it all the time. I always say, okay, oh, I forgot to follow up with that person. How many of us had signed up a customer and didn't even follow up with them in a week to see how they liked it? Or 2 weeks. See, you really should be following up with that customer every 90 days. I mean, like within that whole 90 days, because you want them to stay on the product. That's how you get a long-term customer over time. Every week or every week and a half, just say, hey, Michelle, I was just, reaching out to you. How you liking the drops? How you liking this? How you liking that? And then next thing you know is that customer you always stay on their mind. That's what the follow-up is about. It's helping you build a relationship. You stay on the person's mind. People say, well, how do you follow up? It's so many different ways to follow up. That's why if I went and talked to Billy, I'm not giving Billy a stack of papers when he leaves, because then I have nothing to follow up with him. I don't give him all the website on day one. I don't give him all the PDFs on day one. I give him 2 or 3 things he can go home, check out, and then guess what? I'm going to send him a video in a couple of days. one of the things I want you to start doing is when you do share with somebody, when you do 3-way calls, Zoom, have coffee with them, go to a party, never leave that appointment without setting your follow-up appointment. And never in that follow-up appointment without setting the next follow-up appointment. So if I went and talked to Melissa today, I'm be like, well, Melissa, I know you want to go home and you want to talk to Andrew about everything. Hey, would you like to, how about I reach out to you on, today, Wednesday? How about I reach out to you Friday? Okay, well, what time of the day would be good for me to reach out to you? I let the person choose what time of the day, and I'm following up with them. And once you write it down, and then when I talk to her on Friday, if she's not ready, well, guess what? Because on average, it's going to take a person on average 7 times to hear about something before they actually join. It's going to take them 7 times. So you got to do 7 kind of exposures with them of some kind before they actually jump on in. But, not following up, and when I read this and it just hit home for me, but not following up is like going in the bathroom. Everybody you can go in your bathroom, turn the water on. You about to get in the tub and you never put the stopper down there. You gave this person all the value and you didn't even You didn't even follow up with them. They were so excited, but you didn't follow up, or you wait too long to follow up. If you wait too long to follow up, life happens. How many times have we seen that happen? Oh, well, yeah, I'm not interested anymore. I'm like, but you just was so excited, you know. But see, I waited 7 days to follow up with somebody. I follow up now within the first 24 hours. I'm trying to, reach out to you, find a way, connect with you, do something. So you want to follow up. 80% of the time, people need a follow up. But do you know the average of the people in network marketing that don't follow up with people is 44% of the people? So my question is, are you part of the 56%? Or are you part of the 44% when it comes to following up? Because everybody's not going to join day one, but when you follow up with them over time, that allows you to educate the prospect. That allows you to build that relationship up. So maybe they aren't ready to join your business. Like my friend Josh, he wasn't ready 3 years ago. Him and his wife were getting into real estate at that time. He wasn't ready to do network marketing. But now him and his wife are looking for a way to diversify their income. It also allows you to build long-term value with that person. When my friend called me and told me that, I said, wow, okay. And I didn't follow up with him every day. No, I just, every 30 days or so, but one of the best ways I follow up with people is I figure out a way to stay on their mind. I send value. A lot of y'all get the quotes I send out. That's how I do with all my prospects. Find a way. Send your favorite scripture, like what Michelle read. That'd be something she can send a prospect. Build that relationship up. That's going to eventually be a new business partner for you. That's what possibility that could be. So you want to follow up, and you got so many different tools to follow up with. You can use a Zoom. One of the things that I learned from John Ramsey, and I was like, man, he was just sharing with me, because every contest we've had, guess what? The last 2 of them that corporate ran, they won. They were bringing people in left and right. What were they doing? Well, they do a regular old Zoom, 2-on-1 Zoom, and then they follow up, invite them to this Zoom, follow up with a 3-way call, follow up with this. And I was like, oh, wow. So you're just following up. And I had an amazing level up party at her house the other day. Now, the only question would, how many of those people have you followed up with? See, because that's where it's going. Some people join that night, but some people say, you know what, I need to go home and do some research. So the question I'm asking is, are you following up in a timely manner? Are you letting prospects pretty much hear about other opportunities, hear about this, hear about that before you actually, join? Before they, so just continue to follow up. Get your book, write it down. I love taking notes. So if I'm talking to Billy and Billy's sharing things with me, I'm taking notes. So when I follow up, I have a way to integrate what we have. If I'm talking to Marlene and I know she loves skincare and I'm listening to her over time and I'm like, okay. So, well, all right. Well, this little short video right here would be good for Marlene. Let me send it. Marlene, I know you was interested in the skincare products. I seen this video. I thought about
And Aunt, what I'm feeling in my spirit as I'm hearing you talk about the follow-up and how a lot of us don't, is an unconscious way of quitting on ourselves if we don't follow up. We have reached out, we've shared, we've done business building activities to connect with people, to start that conversation. And for me, I just had a little bit of conviction for myself with regard to that follow-up, because I realized that for me, the lack of follow-up, which is something I'm not very, following up is not something I'm especially good at and I need to work on. And it just occurred to me that the reason for that is because there's a certain amount of fear that if I follow up, there's going to be rejection. They're going to say no. They're going to ghost me. They're not going to want to talk to me. Maybe they're not interested and they don't know how to just say that. And so then what if I've lost that relationship? And so when I don't follow up, then you don't experience those things, right? It's almost a self-defense mechanism that says, well, if I don't follow up, I'm not sure what they were thinking. So if I don't follow up, then I just don't know, right? Then they didn't outright tell me no, or I didn't feel those things, those unpleasant feelings. And so I'm realizing as you're talking about this and how important it is that that's a way that I have, without realizing it, been quitting on myself, is by not taking those steps to follow up. It's not as overt and, obvious as, well, I'm just done with this. I'm not doing this anymore, or I'm going to stop working out completely. It's a little bit more subtle and a little bit more passive. So again, if we're not good at, at committing to ourselves and we find ourselves quitting on ourselves, let's look at this follow-up step as just one more layer of that. Because, it's a business building strategy, but it goes deeper than that too. And I'm feeling that hard this morning, Aunt, as you're talking about that, going, I need to be doing that step, because without it, I am quitting on myself. I'm quitting halfway through the process. I'm quitting at mile 16 where Billy's knee, decided that it was done. Like, I've done a huge portion of it. I've done a lot of the work. I made it to game day, to race day. And I'm not finishing because I'm not taking those steps to follow it through to the end. So that one hit hard here, Aunt. Thank you for the follow-up tied into that. And I'll give it back to you. But I just had to throw that in there.
Hey, that is very true. You're not giving it your all. You said you want to be full-time. You said you wanted more time freedom. You said that you needed extra income. You said that you wanted to, the same way I'm watching people level up physically is the same way you can level up your business as well on a financial standpoint. Because guess what? A little extra money won't hurt nobody. You're not on the call at 10 o'clock Central Time, 10:30 Central Time, 9 a.m., 9:30 Central Time, if you didn't really want this. So you just got to develop a couple of more skills. Don't give up on yourself and say, you know what? I'm going to see it through. I'm going to do it. Lance is one of the most amazing people I know. He does amazing construction work, but I don't think Lance has ever gotten to a job and didn't finish the job. Not following up is like starting to build your house and just saying, oh, well, I'm not going to put the roof on. I'm not going to put the front door on because, I'm just not going to do that part. I'm just going to leave it wide open, just have an open space. See what you're doing when you're not following up, you are missing out on business. You're missing out on business. You're missing out on customers. Either you're missing out on long-term customers, because if you keep following up with your customers over time, eventually you just notice how they'll give you leads. Well, I have a lady who has never done the business in my whole 10 years in this. But guess how many leads she has given me? She probably brought 30 to 40 customers, but she does not want to do the business at all. And it's just, I don't know why, but I tell her all the time. But guess what? She will always share about how Limu helped her, and she starts telling all her friends, and she just gets me on the phone with them, and they already know the excitement. They just want to order. But see, that's what you get when you follow up with it. Because I always check on her every so often and just say, hey, Miss Eigner, how are you doing? I'm doing great. I was just thinking about you. I have 2 friends that need to hear, they want to buy the product. And I'm like, okay. Now, Miss Eigner, you can make some money. I don't know, I don't want to do that. But I just want you to call my friend. But that's how you just keep following up with people. Follow up with your brand partners. Life happens. I was talking to one of my team members yesterday, and she told me something I didn't even know was going on in her life. But that's how you follow up with them. Just because they're not ready to build right now, don't mean you just don't build that relationship up. But following up, also you may call a couple of them and you talking to a couple of them and they say, you know what, I'm really ready to run. I had one of them call me the other, he messaged me after I was just following up with him. And he told me, he said, Anthony, I'm ready to do this. What do I need to do? I said, well, I need 30 minutes of your time. And let's come up with a game plan. And we did. But the time was right. He joined me 4 years ago. He's just been a consumer. Really. But when you follow up, you can actually really, really grow this thing. I tell everybody the fortune is in the follow up. You want to make big bucks here, it's going to come in the follow up. Follow up with new customers, follow up with new brand partners, following up with team members, following up with prospects, following up off your leads. Michelle has leads. You have to follow up, you guys, and don't give up on yourself. Just don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself. Do what you got to do. Do it. Don't give up on yourself because somebody else is watching you already at that. You got friends that's watching, you got family members that's counting on you. I mean, all of that. You have all these people that's counting on you to go out there and be successful, or they're waiting to see what you're going to do. I have a lot of people who said, you know what, Ant, you never quit. Can you tell me a little bit about it? And I remember when you started that in college. I had one of my team members told me the other day, I remember you started that in college. I'm like, I know. Why you didn't join me? Why I didn't know. Well, come take a listen now. So following up, just keep on following up, you guys. And I promise you, if you follow up, my challenge to everybody for the next week is find if you have customers that have joined you, call 5 to 10 of them this week. If you have brand partners that have joined you, call and check up on them, see how they're doing. And if you have prospects, definitely follow up with them in 24 hours. And if you did not follow up, a tip here is you can always just say, oh, Billy, I was meaning to get with you. I've been so busy with my business and this marathon, but I was thinking about you because I know you said you was interested in whatever they said they was interested in, products or opportunity or both. Are you ready to get started? You got to ask them. So you guys, I hope y'all got value from this. Michelle, you touched my heart this morning. Billy, you rock, my brother. And so everybody, I unmute the lines so y'all can tell Michelle how awesome she is and how Billy's awesome too.
Beautiful, beautiful, everyone. Wonderful.